You're listening to Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, how's it going? Well, Aaron Ash is already on board. We have Josh out today, so we have a guest host in the booth there. How you doing, Taylor?
I am doing good. How the heck are you?
I don't know. I don't seen this on the cameras yet. I mean, I know you see us.
Go, right
boom! There we go.
Boom.
All right. Well, let's see my smiling face. She wants to see hers. We have Jennifer Woods with her business that she renamed. What'd you call it?
Reflections Legacy Planning.
But it's the same thing as you Roots and Reflections.
100%.
Yeah, but this way people all have a better idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, this is a very pertinent topic because, as most listeners know, my father passed away about coming on a month now. It was August 21st.
Mm-hmm.
And he had planned well in advance. I mean, well before the dementia started setting in and the health issues started cratering on him. And so my mom was well prepared. And even with that, it's been a hair-pulling experience. And so we're going to talk all about the importance of being prepared. I know, people particularly, I've tried to talk to my son, my straighten up boy, about being prepared for these kind of things. He says, I'm 33. And I said, you know what? That won't prevent, something happening to you and that kind of thing. So I think even at a younger age, it's good to have something prepared in case of a very unfortunate catastrophe.
Yeah, that's on my to talk about list.
Good.
So,
well,
absolutely.
Yeah. You still do legal shield stuff?
I do.
Okay. Because
in conjunction with this.
Right.
So, yeah. I do a little bit. I do legal shield for the wills and stuff, but I also try to do some more education around that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good because I bought some from you, and I got some for my kids from Jack Madsen. And it has already come through from my daughter. She had some issues with a landlord recently, and so she called Legal Shield, and they called the landlord, and things got repaired all of a sudden.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about Legal Shield too. I mean, I am in the middle of a thing.
A thing.
I was a landlord, and my tenants did a lot of damage, and then our insurance denied the claim.
Oh, boy.
So now me and Legal Shield are talking.
Okay. Well, how about insurance denying the claim? I'm stunned.
Big holes in the walls is just hard living is what I've learned.
I remember seeing you post about that, and it was also unfortunate. I think you need your mic a little higher.
Is it?
Just a little bit. Well, whatever.
Hello.
You can move it around like that. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about our friends that sponsor this because you do a better job of promoting than I do. So take it away about Auto in Our Place.
Auto in Our Place, and this Our Place too over here. I finally have been to it.
I'm sure it's
great.
It's the same food, isn't it? Same quality.
Is.
Yeah,
it is. It's great. Anything Auto does or any of them in their family just does a great job.
Well,
and Auto is such a give back to the community guy. So I haven't seen him in a while, but.
Well, I just talked to him yesterday about a couple of things. Trying to get a hold of him is kind of an issue because he's here, there, and everywhere. And then when he's not at the restaurant, he's in Chicago or somewhere else, something like that. But, they're having a questionnaire, if you will, or an open question on his Facebook page, which mural you'd like to see on that Our Place too.
Yeah, I said
the street.
I'm with, I think Kelly Alexander said it, the traditional, original. Just because that's his brand,
Well, I liked the third one with the horses and cattle and all that.
They were all cool.
Yeah, they're very nicely done. But I think he's going to decide pretty soon. But I think we just see what the interest was. But anyway, I'll be there. Probably next week, I know, because every other Thursday, the men and I get together and try to solve the world's problems.
Nice.
Or talk football.
Okay.
After a while, I'll say, forget it. Let's talk about this college football. We don't talk about the Cowboys because, we don't want to cry.
Right.
Well, anyway, and also Gina's Pizza. I just love that joint. I really do because the music, the pizza's good. They're going to there's 2 ball games on today, so if you want to go by, and the ball games will be on. The baseball playoffs, which I love.
And karaoke is Wednesday night, right?
And they have live music on Sunday, which has become a thing. Right?
That's cool.
They I've been there a couple of times, and it's full.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm usually unavailable on Sunday nights, but yeah.
Well, when Susie Morgan and her husband or their entire band is there, it's a packed house. Nice. So there you go. So drop on by, buy some pizza. It's good for you. Build strong bones and teeth.
Green olive, black olive, mushroom, and onion pizza.
I like pepperoni, black olive, and green pepper. Bell pepper. That's
or
what I
just
get.
the Gina special is really good
Oh, that too. I've had that too.
Gina's special's where it's at.
Is that where it's at?
But it's kind of that black olive, green olive.
It's
Yeah.
got a little bit of everything on it.
yeah.
And I've had their sandwiches. Their meatball sandwiches, Jim Dandy. I mean, it really is good.
So really, that's why I left Harvest House, because it was like across the street. It was too easy to get. No, not really.
Yeah, it just you have to make a living, and so
I know, right?
all your money's going to Gina's. Okay. Well, also John Williams over at Old Pro Roofing, 817-734-2756. Have your roof inspected, guys. He was talking about this yesterday. You know, the weather's. I think it's not going to rain for another 10 days or something like that, or it's not going to be this week or early next week. I know that much. So get your roof inspected now, because sooner or later we're going to have bad weather, and you don't want to find out your roof is in bad shape then. So have them check it out. It's a free
And
inspection.
also, if you don't, I mean, insurance companies are getting harder on replacement. The deductibles are higher. So, like, don't wait, because if you wait too long, then it won't qualify anymore, too. Wow. So, get your once a year, you should just get it done.
By the way, Kelly Alexander says, hey.
Hey, Kelly.
Yeah.
We're talking about you, probably.
Yeah, her ears are burning. All right, 817-734-2756. Also, our buddy Jeff Kelly.
My neighbor.
Your neighbor, yes.
Yes, we have a squirrel that we share custody of, right, Jeff?
Really, over at the Wethington Agency, he just joined BNI as well, and he's going to be a very valuable asset, because he's probably one of the most prominent of the real estate agents. He does all over Johnson County, but he's telling me a couple of weeks ago he's doing a lot of business in Godley and Joshua. Speaking of Joshua, I had the superintendent on about 2 weeks ago, and they're blowing up. I
can't imagine.
Yeah, and well, it's really interesting, because since so much of Joshua ISD is in city limits of Burleson, every time their growth is our problem to deal with. And if you really want to get Chris and Victoria excited, get it, kind of gig them a little bit, just bring that up. I brought it up with Victoria, and she just, her eyes crossed. Anyway.
Jeff is a great guy.
He really
totally
is.
honest.
Mm-hmm.
You should, give
good
him a
company,
call.
Good company, because you spend a lot of time with the real estate agents. You want to be able to enjoy the company. So 817-781-0546. He'll be on probably in some time in late or mid-November, and then we have a little pause, and then probably December. You have to have them
Get
on once
ready
a
for your
quarter.
spring sales.
Well, and talk about the interest rates and things like that. And what's going on. There's a lot of houses on the market.
And interest rates aren't horrible. I mean, they're like 5.5, and I mean that's what one of my first houses was, and it's never going to go back down to that 1 point whatever.
Right, my first
5.5
house
is going to be a good interest rate.
Well, my first house was 9.25 back in the early '90s.
Yeah,
same house too. So we refinanced it with Camco in their various, with Candy Gal and Sammy Joe Campbell with the various companies I've been with now. They're with their own at Camco, so you can do that.
Yeah.
Also, thank you to Local Life Magazine. Apparently, there's lots going on this Saturday. There's a kind of a pub crawl Halloween thing going on in Vera Calvin, what's it called, Plaza. Lots going on there.
The former mayor, Vera.
Yeah,
You kind of have to remind people what that was. New people.
Since I live outside the community, it's only really been since I've done this show and since Victoria's gotten on and I've gotten to know Chris that I've been a lot more in tune with what's going on with these things. And then I knew Ken Shedder pretty well, and I taught his daughter and things like that. So but I went a long time with being fairly ignorant with city doings, and now I'm much more integrated.
Yeah.
All right, Local Life Magazine or locallifetx.com. You can check out all about this pub crawl on Saturday. And my friend Al Warner at Bass Printing and Consulting. Alrick, it's ALRICK at bassprinting.com.
This is a new one for me.
Yes, it is. He's right across the street from where we meet BNI in the hub. Al is from St. Kitts, and it's very interesting.
From where?
St. Kitts, down in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
His number is 817-616-8761, so if you need promotional items, we use them at BNI. I got my business cards, I got my brochures from him, my envelopes, all good to go. No fuss, no muss, no cuss. So give him a holler at, again, 817-616-8761. I think that's it. We're going to save a couple of nonprofits. I know that there's a big one with Harvest House coming up, and she'll be, or Amber, and probably Kelly with her, will be on a week from Monday. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, let's talk about your company and what it does. In my personal situation, but this is, I guess, 10 years ago. My dad's in the mid-70s then. He died at 87. he had what he called the bucket book, which had all the passwords, all the stuff, all the names. He had to change it because a couple of the people that were like his financial advisor passed away or retired, and that kind of thing. So he kept it up to date too. So it wasn't like we had to blow the dust off of it every time something would happen, or an account would change, or they moved money from X to Y. He would update it.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, and it was all printed out, but he also had it on a thumb drive. And it makes it sound like he was more technically adept than he was, but he really wasn't that adept. I can tell you that. My sister probably did much of it, but the fact is, even with all that, when he passed away, August 21st, on August 22nd, my sister and my mom and I got together after we dealt with the funeral home. We went through some of that. I even went through that prior to him passing. And it saved us some trouble, but not all the trouble. I mean, there's all this paperwork, and this needs to be notarized to prove that this notarization was notarized. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
Was he a veteran?
Yes.
And that's a whole nother...
Yeah. In fact, we had his internment last Friday over at the National Cemetery.
Right.
Oh, I'm telling you what.
Pretty cool.
If that don't clutch you, then he ain't American. And it isn't that long. That you can make it long, I guess. They give you 30 minutes. But
oh, really?
Yeah, but we didn't have any speakers because we did all that at the church. My sister and I gave the eulogies, and we've already done that. But to have the honor guard there, the folding of the flag, the presentation to my mother on behalf of a grateful nation. I mean,
yep, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and the taps and all that, and I just, it's a beautiful place out there.
I haven't been to this one. My dad is buried at Fort Snelling. My dad and my stepmom and my uncle and my grandparents.
But when it's my mom's time, she'll be buried with him. Yeah. They have a cremation. They have it in a mausoleum. But because that's actually it's a lot easier. And my dad's like, what do I care? After I'm gone, I don't make it as easy on your mother as possible.
Yeah.
So. That way you don't have to tote things around, so to speak. But anyway.
That's good.
But, the thing about it is my dad just had foresight. A lot of people don't. I'm surprised, even people my age who don't have wills, who don't have these plans, that if something happened to them, all of a sudden they had a, God forbid, some heart attack, car crash, a meteor struck the house, the people they leave behind are going to be having to scramble. And if you don't have these things...
Yeah.
The paperwork and the bureaucracy and the red tape will strangle you. So
absolutely.
So what do you do for them?
So
do you have the logo, by the way? Does Taylor have it?
I sent him actually. I couldn't grab my actual just logo, but I sent him my loved and filed file to explain what that is, and then also my website. But yeah. So. You just asked me a question. What do we do? So
yeah, what do you do?
My whole purpose is to help ensure that everybody has those end-of-life documents that you talked about. And so this right here, just briefly, this loved and filed end-of-life organizer is kind of like what you talked about with your dad's bucket list or whatever it was called. And I'm waiting for the printer to get my final documents back, but I'm going to be selling those, and they are an organizer for all your stuff. Get you thinking about things, places for notes, places to put all of your life insurance stuff, all of those things together. And this doesn't have anything to do with the will. This is just a product that somebody can purchase. Right now, it's just in a hard copy. Eventually, it will be in a digital copy, but primarily, just like you were talking about with your dad, most seniors that aren't incredibly digitally minded. So my target audience right now is folks who aren't completely, comfortable with technology. So we have hard copies. So we're going to be working on a digital copy, but at the same time, some of those things are better to have in a hard copy, so you can go through things. So it starts with, kind of a pre-letter. You go through, it talks about your life insurance and all the other things that you need to think about. Have you thought about who's going to take care of your pets? Have you thought about, because that's a big one that people don't think about, like even until the last minute, who's going to clean out your house?
Right.
I mean, is it going to be your kids? Do they have time? I mean, I spent weeks
I
in
bet.
Alaska
Yeah.
cleaning out my parents' house, and there's still stuff technically in there.
Oh,
and
gosh, yes.
I mean, it's been 2 full years and we're not done because of the distance. And then we had tenant issues and things like that. So now we're trying to get the house fixed so we can actually sell it.
Oh, yeah. I remember my cousin, when my aunt died a few years ago, it took him forever to get through all of her stuff in her townhouse.
Yeah.
This is in southwest Oklahoma, and it took a long time and he still has some of it stored.
No, we have everything out. It's an empty house at this point with security cameras so nobody can break in. But it's just getting it fixed so we can actually put it on the market. So that's where we're at. So if anybody's interested in a house in Alaska, it's beautiful, 5 acres. Great. It's a great space. We just need to repair some walls.
Where town is it near?
North Pole. It's in North Pole, which is about 15 miles outside of Fairbanks.
Okay.
It's towards Valdez on the southeast side.
Well, my niece taught for a year at Dillingham, if you know where that is, right?
Basically.
Yeah, she is mostly Inuit students. All right, and I asked her why, and she goes, "Why not?"
Right.
She saw it'd be a good adventure for a year.
I had a friend who actually, she lives in Fairbanks now, and she started working at a village in Bethel, which is one of those that just got wiped out by the tsunami that people aren't really talking about, or not tsunami, but the typhoon that isn't on national news somehow. But the whole western coast of Alaska, just FYI, is in rough shape, and you have to fly everything in there. It's not like North Carolina that got flooded and everybody can just go there. I mean, this is not an accessible place. So it's really bad. Even though there aren't 20 billion people, it's really bad for them. So say your prayers and look it up and see how you can help, because it's really scary. But okay, that's a perfect example of why I do what I do. I mean, as more natural disasters, I mean, I was thinking about the floods this summer. I mean, how horrible that was. And, people's entire houses disappeared, and they may have had their will and other things in their home, but it all got washed away. So it's learning, somebody else needs to have a copy of it. Your financial advisor, your kid, whoever your executor is, in a bank or wherever, you need copies somewhere. And sometimes you have to have the original somewhere. So you can't just... Digital's fine for some of it, but some of it you really do need to have originals for. A certified copy, things like that. You can't just... A lot of places will take the photocopies. A lot of them won't.
Well, one thing we had to have was my dad's DD 214.
Oh, heck yeah. We have a whole section on veterans.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually pulled it right off the veterans site because that was one thing. It's just wasn't worth me going through it. But I've told you this before, that we lost some funds from my dad that were his benefits because we waited too long because I didn't know. And so it's a lot where's the Veteran Service Office? There's one here in Burleson at the sub courthouse. I didn't even know it existed till 3 months after my dad had passed.
I did not know we had one here, actually.
Yeah, right. When you go in the front door of the sub courthouse off Elk Drive, turn to the right, the second door there on your right, there's a little teeny tiny hallway, and that's the Veteran Service Office. They will help any veteran with questions. They'll get them directed in the right direction. They don't do everything, but they helped me file for my dad's death benefits. And they just helped answer questions when I was like, I don't understand.
Well, that DD 214, for those who don't really know what it is, that's his official service papers and discharge and whatever else to verify that he served honorably and things of that nature.
And if they had more than one tour, there's going to be more than one DD 214, which I didn't even realize until I was looking. I'm like, there's 2 here. And then I realized my dad had 2 tours.
Well, my dad had 1 tour and then spent about 8 years in the reserves. And the funeral home that we used in Corsicana, it was used to dealing with veterans. There's a bunch of veterans in this area. And so that was very helpful. But what really helped was the fact that we also had all the access to the account numbers. And we didn't have to go through a bunch of legalities to get access to Mom's funds now. I mean, there was paperwork and 5 business days or 7 to 10 business days, which is a common refrain, So there was all that, but we didn't have to go through a bunch of hoops to get access to it because my sister already had been made power of attorney. And
Executor?
Executor.
Power of attorney. So another thing, power of attorney is only good while the person's alive. As soon as they're alive, it is null and void. So then your executor, your personal representative takes over.
Well, she's also power of attorney for my mother,
Okay.
who is not in state of dementia, but she
Right.
did want to deal with all that.
Absolutely.
But as far as the executor,
So that's a
It
good
was-
point too. You
yeah.
had 2 power of attorneys.
as far as being an executor, it was the will was like all to mom kind of thing, and so it wasn't very complex. But still, people had to stick their hand in the till. It seemed like, and like, what is this? You know,
Absolutely.
this is my father and his money, not yours. But
Absolutely. So, it like, and I'm going to go through some things, but having secondary beneficiaries is really important so that, like with my dad and my stepmom, they had each other as their beneficiaries and there wasn't a secondary. So then when my stepmom passed away just a few weeks later, her beneficiary was my dad, but he had already passed. So that created complications. And I had asked her prior to passing, do you have beneficiaries? Is it all set up? Yes. Well, for her children, which she didn't technically have any, my brother and I were her stepchildren. She had put her children as her beneficiaries on life insurance. Well, we're neither. And so but I had an affidavit of personal property. I was the executor. It worked out. It just took more time and a little bit more hassle, more paper passing. And it's things like that that can help if you have secondaries, if you're making sure every year it's up to date. Because if you don't have one, the state's going to decide what's happening, or you're going to have to go through probate, which is, I had investigated because I thought I was going to have to do probate, and I ended up not having to because I had this affidavit for personal property for items under $100,000. In Texas, it's $75,000, and I was able to prevent it. But the down payment, or the retainer for the lawyer, was like $5,500, and I was like, just kidding. So I let. I had a truck that was my dad's, and he was the only one listed. We just let it go because it wasn't worth probating.
right, we didn't have any of those issues again because my dad took careful steps. Like I said, my dad's been gone roughly a month, close to it now, and mom is still waiting to hear from one more funding source, so to speak, and they give her the 7 to 10 business days routine, and we're like in day 3.
Right.
But sooner or later, it's going to happen. But I can only imagine had not my parents had taken that kind of steps, what we'd be going through now. And they also, on a personal level, I don't know if wills or this is what you do as well, but 10 years ago, my mom on an Easter Sunday said, and she gave my sister a yellow pad and said, I want you and your brother to go through our stuff right now and pick out stuff. So we want to have these kind of conversations later. And it isn't like we have like little stickers on it or something like this is mine, this is yours. But
I had stickers on the back of my mom's stuff.
Well, we have the yellow pad in a safe place.
That's good.
And so, when my mom passes, which God forbid, I don't know, and it could be a while, but once that's happened, we're not going to have to deal with these painful things. And it seems like for a lot of people to think, oh, I don't want to think about it. It's morbid or it's unpleasant, depressing. You ain't seen depressing until you see your family get torn up over, who gets a cuckoo clock or something silly like that.
100%.
Yeah, and my sister and I, first of all, that wouldn't happen between us. All right, because she's not that way, I'm not that way.
Right.
But I've seen other families where, they don't even speak to each other because they got mom's silverware or something like that.
Yeah.
And plus, my mom has also given stuff away to my sister and my wife and my daughter and her granddaughters and all this other stuff.
And if somebody's alive still, like if they were both alive, making sure your parents have communicated who they, especially in blended families. That's where it gets really confusing. And so I do utilize Legal Shield, and Legal Shield has a whole system to talk about, and the lawyers have a different kind of a setup for blended families, and it addresses all those things. So, when you do your will through me, I sell Legal Shield primarily, but like if somebody, let's say you didn't have a will, and let's say you have to have surgery suddenly, I actually have another program I can work with where I can come and we can do your will like right now, get it notarized and be done. It is, in my opinion, not as good as Legal Shield. It's as legal, but like you can't talk to lawyers, you can't do all of those things, which I think is very important because once somebody passes, that's when a lot of times you need to talk to the lawyers. But it's still a good, solid legal program. And I can notarize it and stuff like that. So just knowing that I can do power of attorneys, things for kids who are over 18. But a couple of things, just I want to go through kind of my list here.
Okay.
You know, it's higher costs and more legal fees if you don't have one. And really it's about telling your family that you love them. You know, by getting your will and your end of life stuff, this isn't about you. It is about your family because they're the ones going to have to deal with it. And anybody over the 18 should have a simple will and a power of attorney so somebody can help take care of them should they end up in the hospital. If you're single, I don't care how old you are, somebody should be able to have the legal right to make decisions for your best friend, your parents, your grandparents, I don't care who, but somebody you trust. If you have children under 18, who's going to be their guardian? Do you want the state to take them? Because that's what can happen.
It crossed my mind a few times when they were under 18.
Right,
but,
probably, yeah. You know, you just talked about the family disputes and tensions. I also work as the hospice chaplain. I've worked as a chaplain at the hospital. And you see a lot of things, and it can rip a family apart. I know in my personal family, there were some things over some property that absolutely destroyed my grandparents' family to the point where I didn't even know how my grandfather had a brother until he was like 88.
Really?
And my grandfather pretty much helped raise me. And I was like, he came to the door, and I'm like, who? My grandma was like, that's his brother. And I was like, what? I knew he had a sister. I never knew he had a brother. You know, but the other thing is like, let's say you're divorced and you didn't update your will, you could have unintended heirs. So an ex-spouse, family members can come out of the woodwork and they can get legal access to your things. So you really want to make sure that you have things in writing. And you want to make sure somebody has the authority to make medical decisions for you. And even within your family, like I read a story about this lady, and she had a son who was an EMT and another one who was like more of a financial guy. Well, the financial guy was also more emotional. So he was not going to be the person to make the healthcare decisions because he would have been like, let's keep mom alive forever. Where mom was like, I don't want to live forever. Don't intubate me or whatever.
Right.
And, you know, so finding the right person. And I tell people it doesn't have to be your family member. Your family is going to be grieving. It can be your financial advisor. It can be a trusted friend who's a little bit on the outside who can help take care of these things. Because I think people always think it has to be my child, but it doesn't. And sometimes that can help the family dynamics as well.
Well, we have that do not resuscitate, both my parents and Robin and I.
In and out of hospital?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes. My story was, and you may be familiar with a couple of people involved, about 10 years ago, Megan Swearingen's father died. Okay. A good friend of mine.
Okay.
And I didn't have a appropriate will. And he was 2 years younger than me.
Wow.
Okay. It was sudden. Now, as far as I remember, he had taken care of business. And the railroad he worked for, was very helpful. But I thought, I don't want that being prepared. And so I had a former student who's now an attorney down in Fort Worth named Taylor McPherson. Well, that was her maiden name. I'm sorry. She may still go by that. But she's been married for a while now. And we went and made a will. And it was not that big a deal. It wasn't like, you had to go and bring all this documentation. We brought, our account numbers and things like that, and we filled out this form and things like that. And then after we filled it out, we went back and signed it after she had it all prepared. And boom, there you go. There's a will. Here's a book. Here's your thumb drive with it. And we have do not resuscitate. And we have, who's going to take care of this. And my kids are co-executors and stuff like that. And as far as other property relations, our kids basically have been told, okay, my daughter wants the vinyl records, my son will take the books and that kind of thing. Better than that, we don't. But I'm just saying, we even at mid-50s when we were doing this, early 50s, we wanted to be prepared. Because I've seen a couple of other families, some I'm related to, where there was all this controversy.
Yeah.
And even though they thought they had a will, it was fairly vague. And it was not so much the money, it was all the personal property.
Yep.
And all the stuff.
Because it's sentimental. And
yeah.
And who gets the money and who gets that and the other thing. And, if you have a special needs child, do they have guardianship? A lot of families who have the special needs child are generally more prepared, but not necessarily.
What do you have more on your list?
A few more things.
Okay.
Just the tax consequences of doing it. So, I did good because I knew that I could transfer after my father passed away, my stepmom was on hospice. So I knew her days were short. So I went to the title company and did a quit deed where I probably should have done a transfer on death deed because it would have been less of a tax consequence, but I was just happy to have it done. And so it's not that big of a deal. The property's not worth like millions of dollars, though the tax consequence is somewhat inconsequential. But you just have to be careful to make sure that you think through those things, talk to things. I had a week to get all that stuff done. So I just made decisions where, hindsight, I probably should have talked to my lawyer, probably consulted a few people. But at that point I was just like, I need to get this done. I talked to the title company, and they told me what my options were, or this option. I didn't realize there were other options. They didn't give me the full gamut, but it's still okay. And then I had all of their cars and trailers and everything like that put into mine and my brother's name. So it was all done. So when she passed away, it was all ours. And we didn't have to go through all of that stuff. It just was. And then, like I said, your pets, who's going to take care of them? I mean, what happens to the pets? Are they going to get divided up? My parents' pets are in good homes, but she wanted them to come to us. But when it actually happened, it just wasn't possible.
Right.
And so, because we have dogs, and there was just a lot of things, and I kind of felt bad. But there's only so much you can do sometimes, But
well, let's say that somebody listening to this show doesn't have these things prepared like we're talking about. First of all,
thank you. I know it's.
Okay, there it is. Okay.
I knew it was messed up, so
yeah,
figured out.
Anyway, somebody's unprepared, or they don't think they're prepared, or maybe they think they are, but they want somebody to look it over. First of all, how do they get hold of you?
So I did give Taylor my
Taylor, he'll be up in a minute.
And if he doesn't see it, it's reflectionslegacyplanning.com. And you can go on there. You can set up an appointment with me. If you don't want to do that, you can go directly to my Legal Shield site, which there's a button to click there. I mean, you can do it all on your own if you're like, I kind of know what I need to do. The thing I like about Legal Shield, especially for end-of-life stuff, is it's so simple. It takes literally, if you sit down and do it. And so I've been doing will seminars. I don't have any scheduled right at this moment, but I will get some.
There it is.
There's my website.
There's a website.
So,
okay.
I need to get some more workshops scheduled at this moment. My last one was supposed to be tomorrow, and I did actually end up canceling that one. But I will get some more on there. I need to find a different location, a different time. I don't think.
Where do you normally do these workshops?
I have been doing them at the Old Texas Brewing Company, or I've met with some people at their home. I can go to your house. I can have your family there. I can moderate conversations that are a little bit hard. Things to plan for. So you can you can purchase the loved and filed planner. View the workshop schedule. You can call me, or I think it's at the top because you can actually schedule. Oh, it's not on there. We just did some updates, but you should be able to schedule an appointment with me. I don't know where my calendar is.
Well, what's the phone number?
682-802-9856.
One more time.
682-802-9856.
Now, you and I, when we talked Legal Shield, we did it at Daydream Coffee.
Yes.
You do stuff like that?
Yep. I'll meet you at a restaurant. I'll meet you at your home. If you have a church group, I'll come and talk to your church group. Whatever I need to do to make you feel comfortable. Some people are like, just come to my house. But if you're not okay with that, we can go to a public place.
Well, it just during the day, there's plenty of places in Burleson you can go to our place. I mean, I've done business there, that and at Gina's. And so you can do that. I'm not just throwing a cheap, our place shout out. I mean, that's where I do my business.
Absolutely. And then like the brewery, I just do it in their back their back room before they open is what I've been doing. So it's been good. And then the other thing is that we started talking about a little bit was anybody over 18, no matter where they live, needs to have a simple will and a power of attorney, because if something happens, who's going to make decisions for them? Who's going to have access to their financial accounts? Because you're an adult. It's going to be, the doctors are going to make decisions. The state's going to make decisions. Technically, your parents can't without proper authority. HIPAA, and what's the other one? I can never remember it.
No, it ain't FERPA. That's an education.
Yes. No, but it is.
Oh, it is.
Yes,
okay.
FERPA. That's what I was trying to think of, because if they're in college,
okay, that's right.
all the things. If you have an Amazon account, if you have an Apple account, my mom's Apple account is technically still open.
Do you still get to watch Ted Lasso or whatever?
No, just like her email and stuff.
Show.
It's a good show.
But like for me, I was not my mom's executor, and so I was unable to get access to certain things, which was very frustrating, because you have to be careful who you pick as your executor. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, well, that's true, because again, it can be a source of conflict. But what I've been thinking is, a lot of the younger people, my son and daughter, that generation, think, well, they would just assume if something happened to them, it all goes to their spouse, partner, best friend, whatever. I mean,
it normally will just go there. But what happens? Something happens to both of you.
Well, not only that, but isn't it more expensive or time consuming if you're intestate?
You still have to probate it.
Yeah.
Usually, well, it depends on what it is. Also, if there's not a beneficiary in life insurance, it will eventually go to next of kin. But that's where somebody can come out of the woodwork and claim something. If you're a blended family, I know of somebody who's so after the divorce, there was a house, and then there's a stepdaughter in the background. Well, now they're selling that house, and it became a huge deal of, well, what does she get? And what about all the rent and money that's been put into the home to fix it up? I mean, huge mess, because it wasn't dealt with prior to now. I mean, it's been years that the house has been rented, and there's not really a relationship there. So what do you do? Well,
it's for a lot of the young people, particularly those that don't own a home or whatever else, or they don't have any kids. They figure, I'll get around to it. I mean, they don't think they have any communal property. They don't think they have any assets. I'm like, no, but you will someday. And waiting until you get those may be too late, or it may be more expensive then, or whatever else. Because I've already paid my expenses on putting my will together, and that was 11 years ago or something like that.
But if anything's changed in your life, like let's say you move to another state, you have to you have to update your will, because the laws in different states are different. If you have a car, so most young adults have a car. So who's getting the car?
Or the debts.
Well,
that's a different story.
That's a different story, kind of. For parents, if your kid is at college and they end up in the hospital, that's where the power of attorney comes in. I mean, if you're here and your kid's in New York going to school, without a power of attorney, you can't technically even call and find out how they are.
Well, like in my case, I don't have anybody with power of attorney. Should I make Robin my power of attorney and she make me hers?
Yes. But if you likely are on hers already with her doctors.
Right,
because
I am.
So that's basically...
She's on, my doctors too.
Right. And so you've already done that. You've gone through the HIPAA. You've crossed over that. But it's still good to have somebody else in case you and her, get in an accident together. Or, still who... It's just, you got to kind of think of worst case. And it's so simple. That's the other thing. And so with Legal Shield, it's not going to be thousands of dollars.
No.
It's about $400 a year, approximately, depending on which program you get, which... is about $40, $50 a month, depending on. And then if
mine's $37.95.
Yeah, prices have changed since but yours is going to stay.
Yeah, I know. I figured inflation hits everybody,
but not much. I mean, it's only $2 more.
Yeah.
But then also, if you want to get a trust through Legal Shield, after you've had your premium plan for, I can't remember if it's 3 months or 6 months, but it's $250 to get your trust.
That's a lot cheaper than having somebody else do it.
It is. And and I know that they have kits and you can do it. And, a lot of people, and I'm not trying to bash anybody, so I'm not, but
I'll bash them.
I had a person who met with me to get their will done. They had just gone to one of these programs at
like Legal Zoom stuff like that.
No, they had just gone to one of the programs at like a local place. I don't even want to name it because I don't want people to know who it is. But
all right.
But they did this presentation. Here we're going to talk about your will and all this stuff. Well, they talked about selling their product. They talked about all these things, and they never really got to the will. You had to make an appointment and meet with them later. And so when I do a seminar, what I do, yes, I'm going to sell you a product. If you already have Legal Shield, we're going to go through your will questionnaire. We're going to finish it and turn it. So it takes about an hour. And that's it. And then we get it, either I can help send it in, you can send it in, whatever you need to. And then it takes approximately 2 weeks to get it back. And then when you get it back, you just need to call me and I'll come over and notarize it.
But see, there's websites that you supposedly can do this on your own. Okay. And I guess, it saves them money, they think, but then, I wouldn't know all the legal details as you do.
Well, and so I'm not a lawyer, but
you know the law.
So let's say with your Legal Shield, you just went to the website, because you have an account now, and you go in there and you download the will questionnaire. You don't need me at all. I'm just there I'm offering my service because people get so overwhelmed and think it's going to be very hard. It's not. And then once it's done, the lawyer is going to call you and go through it with you to make sure, first of all, it's you. Ask you a bunch of questions, make sure it's what you really want. That, like with my parents, they had made each other their beneficiaries, and they told us the good and the bad of that. Is that how you still really want to have it? What other things do you want? And then they finish it, send it to you, and you get it notarized. After you've checked it, make sure everything's correct. And then when that comes, it comes with all of your end-of-life directives. And your membership includes you and a spouse, and any dependents under the age of 26 that are actually dependent. So if your child's 26 and they're off at college, they can still get their will under this. So you're talking about 3 wills for $400 a year.
Yes.
With all the healthcare directives and the ability to access a lawyer to ask questions.
You're not going to get that done today. I mean, any attorney is going to charge you more than $400 for all those services.
Well, it's about $400. It's about $2,000 to $3,000 a piece.
Right. That's kind of what I thought. Now, as far as, let's say somebody like myself already has a will, do you review their wills just to make sure there's no holes in it?
So with Legal Shield, if you get the premium or preferred plan, they will update it every year at no additional cost. So it's already included in your membership. It's not free because you're paying for it in your membership, but it will. They will evaluate. Like, let's say you move, they'll update it. Maybe you have another child. Maybe your child is no longer your dependent. All of those things, they will update it every year for no extra cost.
I need to check mine because my daughter was still in high school when we did this. Now she's not.
She may, I don't know if she has kids.
No, she doesn't.
Okay, but let's say she had kids. So now you have grandkids that you want to add to it. And those are all things that might change that people don't always think about. Even a parent, like as parents, maybe you have 2 kids and then you have a 3rd kid. Well, is it updated for the 3rd child as well? So those are all things that you just need to think about. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. The other thing they were talking about is how this is really, it just helps create that thought process in young people, like take care of yourself. Like my mom used to work for a life insurance company, so I've had life insurance since I was really little. I've also have some people that I partner with. I don't make anything off of it. They're just people I trust to send you to talk to about life insurance. I'm actually meeting somebody this afternoon who actually does prepaid funerals because I want to kind of vet some people because not all experiences are the same. I don't want somebody in a high pressure situation. And with me, and the only thing I can tell you is that if you come to me and you really only need the $29.95 basic membership, that's all I'm going to sell you.
All right.
I 100% will never. I'll explain it to you, and then I'll tell you what I think you actually need.
Right.
Because I know a lot of times people are like, "Oh, you need this." It would make me more money.
No, I can vouch for it. That's what you sold me Legal Shield. There's 3 different plans, and I could have taken the cheaper plan. I took the middle plan, and you weren't like, "Oh my Lord, you need the more expensive plan." You just said, "Okay, great." Because
that's how I am, and that's how I want to be treated, and I don't like being upsold, and I don't like being pressured. And if you don't want to do it, but you want me to follow up with you later, I'll do that. If you want me to leave you alone, I'll leave you alone. It's just
no. I could. So I'm just saying to the vast listening audience, I experienced this myself, and I did not get the hard sell, and because I'm like you, it's like. It's no, I don't want fries with that. I did ask for fries, okay, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's why I like John because at the Pro because he's not going to try to upsell you
exactly
and things like that. All right.
But I want you to get what you actually need. If you want to trust, then you have to have the premium plan. If you may have things that are going to change. If you're 89 years old, I'm selling you the basic plan because you're not likely going to need to update it.
Well,
you're probably not driving, and you're probably not going to need it for anything else but your will and end of life directives.
Well, also there's something to be said about doing it when you're less stressed. If you're in a situation where time's an issue or this happened to you suddenly or whatever else, and you got to, you want to do it when things are calmer, you're more rational, I suppose. You have time to think about things, So that's what I liked about what my dad did, because, and it was done. Some of it was done through an attorney. He had an executor who passed away, and so they changed the executors. That's when my sister took over. But the thing is that when they went through all of that, and when he was clear of mind, good health, no time constraint, and whatever else. So my advice to anybody that does not have this taken care of, take care of it today and not be worried about it. Oh my goodness, somebody in my family is very, very ill and I got to get this taken care of now and all this other stuff. You're making decisions when there may not be in the best health or mental state.
Right. And the other thing is that Legal Shield is available in all 50 states in Canada. And I guess actually the UK, I can't sell to the UK, but they have plans in the UK. And then, so I've been working with Alaska law firms, even though I live here. Legal Shield, actually, I have somebody to call this afternoon. They vetted a law firm in Alaska, so I can call them to help finalize my stuff. And if it's not included in your membership, it's a 25% discount or a 15%. The basic plan comes with a 15% discount. If you have a small business and you're like, man, I would love to offer this to my staff because, listen, my staff go through divorces. They go through all kinds of things that they need help from. Legal Shield can actually help them be more focused on work because they're not having, they've got somebody helping take care of this. They don't have to wonder, and how am I going to pay for this? And, I've spoken to some people and they don't have the money. Like uncontested wills are covered in your membership. There's a lot of things that you'd be like, really? That's covered in your membership? But it is. So, but there's group rates, and so people with small businesses, their employees can pay for it if they can't afford it, but we can get them a better price if they are small, any size, or if they're a huge business, we can do that too. And so anybody who wants to talk about it, I'm in no pressure, but I want to educate people because this is really about making sure everybody's taken care of. I feel after my parents died, because I lost 3 in 20 months, my mom was prepared. My dad and my stepmom weren't. My dad died unexpectedly. My stepmom was on hospice. I was so glad I do all the networking because I knew who to ask and I knew what to do because, really, all these networking groups, you don't think about it, but I learned how to navigate this by knowing all these insurance people, by knowing all these title companies and knowing all the things. I was like, wow, I actually know what to do here, or at least who to ask. And I'm like, most people don't have these amazing resources like I do. And so I'm like, I need to do this. And I want to make sure other people have somebody to talk to. And and that's why I have 2 companies also. I prefer Legal Shield, but the other company that I work with, you can go buy it on your own, but I can get you a 20% discount off of it.
Okay.
So, and again, it's faster. It's just set up a little bit different. It's definitely for a simple will.
Well, okay. I want to jump to the nonprofit sector here, and then we'll finish up because one of these things coming up is you're probably near and dear to your heart.
It is near and dear to my heart.
Our friends over at Harvest House.
The Harvest Brunch.
The Harvest Brunch.
It is such a great opportunity. Now, I don't know what they're doing this year because I know that they have Zach Rippey, who's going to be their MC, which I'm so excited about. And can I do a free plug?
Please, do all you want.
Zach Rippey does, I like, hey, Taylor knows him.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, he's my favorite podcast ever.
Hey.
Sorry.
Okay.
Except for this one.
Oh boy, yeah. Did you hear that? Okay,
No,
fine.
but seriously, he is it's a spiritual one, and it is
okay,
so
it's a different category.
It's a totally different thing than this.
Okay.
And Taylor helps him.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Anyway, but he's doing the emceeing, and then I just saw Zach's for the first time like last week, so it was kind of fun. But this is going to be so great. It's really, they're going to be talking about what's going on with the organization, and they're going to be talking about just all the good things. And I'm excited to go because, last year that was kind of one of my last days.
Yeah,
it was officially going to be my last day, but then I stayed another 6 weeks. But
yeah, I remember.
But I'm excited because Harvest House is just an amazing organization. And they do good things and they change lives. And they've started some new programs, and you need to come and hear about them because they're life changing and they're community changing.
Well, it starts at 10 o'clock on November 6th at Pathway. Pathway does a lot of stuff.
It's free. Mm-hmm. And
is there going to be an ask?
There is going to be an ask.
Okay.
So,
well, that's appropriate.
Yep. And they're going to have some
Door prizes?
not door prizes, auction, live, little silent auction.
Silent auction.
I was
Okay.
like, when's it called? See, I've been away from nonprofit for 5 minutes and I already forgot. But no, it's definitely, you need to go. I know that, so this is going to be amazing on the nonprofit side. And I'm really mad because I missed Next Steps event and, with my life and different things. But I know they also have the Marine Corps thing coming up in December.
Well, yeah, Jack Matson will be on the show on the...
And talking about that?
On 30th of
Okay,
this
but
month.
that's gonna also benefit Center for ASD some, and there's lots of good things. I mean,
we'll be busy. I have Amber, and like I mentioned, Amber and Kelly coming a week from Monday, and they'll be talking about this brunch. But it's November 6th, so put that in your calendar.
Outside of what's on that paper, I don't know what's happened at that event, though.
Well, they'll
so don't
fill it
come
in.
and don't ask. No, I'm just saying, because people sometimes like, hey, what's... I'm like, I don't know. I don't work there anymore. I'm just saying, go support them. So it's a great organization and
there's stuff going on. We just finished, last week we had the BOF breakfast, which was pretty successful. We now you're a part of that group, and you were there at the meeting, and you saw that, we solved a few problems. Let's put it that way. I'm
as a parent of a student who has not yet graduated from Burleson High School, or, I have 2 children. I'm so excited to be, first of all, part of Burleson Opportunity Fund, because I think it is just such an important thing in our community to be able to help kids who may not have the opportunity to go to college, and just investing in our community in a whole new way as a community.
Well, it's amazing how COVID really impacted our little group, because we're now at the point where we pretty much recovered from that 2-year, hiatus from giving, because it was just everything that stopped, and now we're pretty much back to where we were prior to COVID, and that's a good thing. Also, next Monday, going to have Rich Hooper on with 88.3 The Journey. He was going to he promotes the show. And so hopefully he remembered this morning. I don't know. He's very busy. I know they're doing.
I hear about it.
There's going to be. I think there's a quarterly fundraising. I think it started this week actually. But he's going to come and talk about it and what the radio station does and all this other stuff. And there's a lot of radio stations out there.
So they're kind of like you in a way where you're just like. And I think a lot of these organizations, like, how do we support each other? How do we just make Johnson County the coolest place to live and support? And, you're out here letting me be on your show. Look at me.
Look at you. Yeah. Well, this is what you're saying. It's important. It isn't just, it's having conversation. You have some important service. And then when you're with Harvest House, definitely, that's a community builder. In fact, this show will be on tonight on community radio at 6 o'clock.
Oh, cool.
And 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Community Radio TX can be accessed online with 365. Tune in, and the link I put on Facebook, I already promoted it this morning, so they already should have the link.
Nice.
But then when I get back, I transfer this show to the appropriate format, and I put it on schedule. And
busy guy.
It didn't take that long, really. To transfer it from this format to MP3 takes about 45 seconds.
Oh, that's a long time. It's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
A lot of effort.
And then to schedule it takes about 30 seconds. So it's not really, that time consuming, but it just got to do it. It won't do it itself. I want to plug the radio station just briefly. I listen to sports radio when I'm not listening to community radio. When I'm driving around, when I listen to hear talk about the Rangers or whatever. I can't get through the commercials. I mean, it's literally I timed it one time, and you listen to talk radio, and there's 24 minutes of commercials, and then you have a segment, and sometimes they're acting like a couple of knuckleheads, and that segment's wasted. You want to hear about the Cowboys or hear about football or whatever. And they're acting about, acting like junior high kids in the locker room. Oh, and here's another 8 minutes worth of commercials.
That's why my husband only listens to his iPad or his phone.
Yeah, and
it's the same thing. And
so I listen to the radio station,
nice.
and we have ads 4 times a day, 8, 12, 4, and 7:30, and the rest is music. Or I'll put my podcast on it. I put the Chamber podcast on it. I put Jonathan Moore's podcast on it, the Take Back Your Joy. So, but most of the time, this afternoon we'll be playing 80s music. And
nice.
So it's I recommend it, not just because it's my station and all this other stuff, but man, I can't beat my way through the commercials. And that's, on over-the-air radio.
I try to listen to a talk radio station, and I'm just like, it's the same thing. I turn it on, and I'm like, never mind. And I just go back to something else because they never get to the topic.
No. And as far as like political stuff, I left that behind a long time ago. I don't listen to political talk because it just gets y'all spooled up. But anyway, we have a couple of minutes left. Don't you finish off the show for us?
Yeah. So my website is Reflections Legacy Planning, and I would love to meet with somebody. I can do a phone call, I can do a Zoom call, or I can come to your house, or we can come up with whatever works for you. I can come to your group, have your family together, because sometimes just moderating those conversations, charge a small fee to moderate and all that outside of it. And then I'm on Facebook, Reflections Legacy Planning, and Instagram. So I'm kind of getting my Instagram is sort of more personal right now. I'm transitioning it, but there's going to be more stuff. I try to just share a little bit more about asking some questions, what ifs and what's going to happen. So would love to talk to you. If you just have questions, call me. I think it's really important. And if you're a small business or whatever, I'd love to talk to you about how you can help your employees for inexpensive. And even if you can't afford it, it's okay for employees pay for it, but we can get them a better price by doing a group format. So,
well, you do a good service, and I appreciate it. And I've come to appreciate it a lot in the last month because even though we had some hurdles and red tape and all that, it was much better than some other stories I've heard of people that did not have this prepared.
The thing is, you don't want to get to that point and be like, oh, I just wish I would have. And so I got to tell people, I'm like, let's stop kicking the can down the road and let's just do it. It'll take about an hour and a half because I want to educate you a little bit. And then we're just going to do it. I mean, so literally, isn't it worth an hour and a half or 2 hours of your time to just get it done?
Well, I appreciate you being here. And
thank you for having me.
Okay, and no problem. And next Monday, we have Rich Hooper, like I mentioned, and also a week from today, we're going to have Sandy Mason with the American Legion and their Veterans Day plans.
Nice.
And we'll have a lot to talk about. I haven't talked to him since my father passed, but I can talk to him about the funeral, not the funeral, the internment, 2 separate events. And but they got some plans for Veterans Day. Also, we're going to talk about veteran services because, like you mentioned before, if you're a veteran, you got access to other services that maybe a lot of veterans even don't know about.
And they're free. I didn't, it might be, I'm just saying, not telling you how to do your show, but maybe interesting to go over and meet them and see if they'd be interested in doing something like this because.
No, you tell me how to do my show. A lot of people do.
That's right.
No, I get it. I get suggestions a lot and I don't mind. Hey, no, I really don't mind. I don't get offended. Say, hey, I'll get people that'll text me and say, hey, this is going on. I want you to talk about this. Or this is an event that's going on. I want you to do a show about that. And that's kind of what I'm here for. So it's not a problem. I can rant about Trump any day. I'd like to have guests. So, it's a gift that keeps on giving. All right. So Taylor, thanks for dropping by. I know you're a big shot that you are.
Just trying to be like you.
Well, it's a good goal. Keep trying. And we'll see you all next week.
All right. Bye.